Guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Becca, and today I am doing my November 2020 budget with me. Okay, so starting with income, I will fill all of this in later just for privacy reasons, but I know that at least for miscellaneous income, we are going to have $1,550. And so I'm estimating that our total income will be $7,258. And this is just a low estimate because my husband and I have 4 different jobs, and my income is fixed. I always know what it's going to be, generally. But my husband works for himself, so income is varied based on how many projects he brings in every month. He is an architectural assistant, so he does just dimensional drawings and such. So I just budget for what I think he'll get, like the lowest amount, and then work from there. And then this miscellaneous category is actually for kind of an interesting situation. So my husband and I just recently bought a house last month, and we currently rent an apartment, and our rent isn't up, our lease isn't up until March, and we can't break the lease because it charges an exorbitant amount of money to do that. So our options were to sublet this place where we are right now, or lease out our house. So that's the option we took, just because we can't float the mortgage and the rent. So this is the rent plus utilities that we're charging the people who are currently renting our house. So that's why I know what that number is. And we may have some other miscellaneous income, but that's for sure. So starting here, let me zoom in. Zoom you in. Okay. And the first thing we'll start with fixed expenses is the tithe. My husband and I are Christians, and we believe in giving to our local church and just missions organizations. So I think this month it'll probably be $600, and that's just for our income minus the rental income that we think we're gonna get, and just a little extra. And then next is rent and water. Water is just taken out with our apartment, and I think that this will be around $1,450. It's variable as well. I know I should have just put this like bills, but I'll fix it next time. I made this spreadsheet and I'm still working out the kinks. But so I think that that's going to be $1,450 this month. And then my phone bill is, I'm pretty sure for this month it's going to be $47. It's been $57 for the past 2 years, but I finally finished paying off. I was on like a 2-year plan for my phone to pay it off, and I finally did. It was $10 a month, and so now I think it'll be $47. And then my Wi-Fi is $62. I actually know what it is, and it's $61.10, but I like to put these like whole round numbers at the top. And then our car insurance is next, and I do these typically in the order that they're taken out. So that's kind of why I'm doing it in this order. And so that's $154. We have that through Progressive. And then my husband's health insurance, or I shouldn't say health insurance, it's not technically insurance, but his health sharing program is $161. I think it's been changing over the past few months, so I'm not quite sure, but I think it's going to be that much. And then we pay renter's insurance here. It was like recommended that we get a policy, or we had to do like a policy that just covered the apartment, and so I just wanted to cover all of our stuff, and that's $13 a month. And then I'm just going to skip a line for clarity, and then let me do all of the bills for the house we just bought. So my how we set it up is that we are going to pay all of the utilities, because the renters are only going to be there for 6 months, and I didn't want to have them have to set everything up and pay all the like deposits that you have to pay for utilities just for 6 months, because you usually have to be on year-long contracts. So we're just paying them, and then anything that it goes above $200, we'll just charge them. So our mortgage is $1,200. It's actually technically $1,161, but I am just paying. I'm just rounding it up right now because it's super cheap. And then when we move out of this place where we rent now, I'll up it to be the same amount that we're paying right now, just so that we pay that off a little faster. And then our Wi-Fi for the house is $69. And water, I think, is going to be, I don't know how much it's going to be, but I'm just going to budget $100 because my mother-in-law also lives in that neighborhood that we've just bought a house in, and that's how much theirs typically is. And so I'm just making a guess. Last month we got the bill and it was $269, but that included a $200 deposit, and then $69 is like the minimum fee that they'll charge because it's water plus sewer. So I think with use it'll end up being $100, but we'll see. And then electricity, and this month I got the bill and it was $98, so I'm just going to budget $100. I know that it'll be going up because it's getting cold this month in Texas. Where I live in Dallas, or around Dallas. And then last is natural gas, and I haven't gotten any bills for natural gas yet, so I don't really know how much that's going to be, but I'm just going to say $50. So all of that together is $4,016, which feels like a lot and is way more than we usually pay, because all of these are, this is the first month that we'll have the mortgage, and like all of these expenses are new, but it's also just counteracted with this number up here. So it's a little scary for me to look at, but it's really just because of that. And then let me pull it down a little, moving on to my variable expenses. So first we'll do groceries, and this one is a fight every month. I always budget $400, and sometimes I go lower, and so then the next month I'm like, oh great, and I'll budget only $350, and then that month I'll spend $425, and I'm like, I give up. So I'm just putting $400. And then eating out, I'm just gonna budget normal. $160 is how much we try to stay under. It'll probably go a little bit over because Thanksgiving is in November, and we are traveling to visit my family. And so I know that anytime you're traveling, you are just more likely to eat out. So I'm going to try to keep it under this and bring a lot of road snacks. I mean, it's not a far trip. They live like 4 hours away. But we'll see. And then gas. So I know gas will be more expensive because we're driving. So I'm going to put $100. We've been spending around $60 to $70 because pandemic, so we haven't been going very many places, and I also drive a hybrid. I drive a Prius, so I don't have to fill up very often. I also work from home, so I really don't go very many places, but I'll up it this month because of our trip. And then shopping, and I've debated whether or not I should change this category and separate it out and do like an allowance for me and an allowance for my husband, but I like doing it this way because he never uses his portion, and I want to use all of it. And if we did it a different way, I would always go over mine, I think. So shopping, I'm going to give us $150. And I usually try to give us $100, but I think for that month, like if we have to buy anything for Thanksgiving, I don't know what we would buy, but maybe. I just want to put that in there. And then beauty. I know that I am running low on like eyebrow powder and BB cream, so I'm just going to put $50 there for that. And then subscriptions, and this, I used to make everything its own category, but I started getting so many subscriptions that it was like too many lines and I didn't know what to do. So this is our Apple Music, and then we each pay for extra storage, for various like work things, like on Google Drive and then on Apple. And then I have the Apple Care. And then what else do we have? Oh, monthly I have a work email for a business that I have. And so that has a monthly subscription fee. And so I don't really know. It's been kind of a little wonky because we've had some once a year subscriptions come up recently, but I think it'll be $50 or $60. And then I'm going to put just a separate line for Thanksgiving, just in case. I like to have that line just in case we bought, I don't know, like the turkey. I don't know what we would buy, but just in case we buy something that I can specifically remember, like, okay, that was a Thanksgiving expense, not just a general shopping expense. Because at the end of the month, when I look at this and I show my husband, sometimes he's like, what was going on there? And I'm like, I don't even know. So I try to do this, and I'm just going to put $25 there. And then Christmas, I think we're going to buy our tree in November. I'm going to try to do it at like a Black Friday sale, but I don't know. And the tree that I want on Amazon is like, and this has been like a discussion because he wants a real tree. And this is our first year of marriage. So it's kind of like, okay, what should we do? But I am not a real tree person. I am definitely an artificial tree person. So I'm going to budget $100 for that Christmas tree. And then gifts. I like to start my shopping early. So I've already bought a lot of Christmas gifts, but I still have 3 more to buy. And I think I'm going to spend $50 in November. And then auto. So my husband's car renewal is up this month. So that's going to be, I think, around, I know that's always like $76, I think, in the state of Texas. And then I also need to get an oil change. And I don't remember how much that's going to be because I always bring my own oil, but you still have to pay for it. So I'm just going to put $150 in there because that's how much, like, if they don't put it here, I put $150 in a sinking fund every month for auto. So whatever I don't use here, I'll move to my savings. And then miscellaneous category for anything that just crops up, I put $50. And so that is $1,295. And then let's move on to the next section. Okay, and so then for savings. So right now, I am working on a really big goal, paying off my student loans. So all of my extra income every month, or all of our family extra income every month goes to that. But with another thing, actually, that's not quite true right now because we're doing something different. But let me just do this first. So for our just regular savings, for investments, I just have a Roth IRA that, like, right now I put $10 a week into, and the goal is for, obviously, us to be contributing like 15% of our income to that, but I'm trying to knock out my student loan debts, and I'm kind of loosely following the Dave Ramsey method, so right now I am minimizing this, and I'm also 23, so I've got a little bit of time, but so right now I just do $40 a month into my little investing app, and then I have a vacation sinking fund. We are planning to, and I say that loosely, we are planning to go to Belize in February. For my husband used to live there. He was in a band, and every year they do what is it called? A reunion, and so they have, like, they get the room booked for free, and then, like, we get food for free. You just have to pay for your plane ticket out there. And we actually have a ton of travel credits right now because we were supposed to get married in March in Paris. And then we had to cancel that because of the pandemic. And then this was like in March, so we just knew that in Europe everything was like crazy. So we pivoted and we booked flights to St. Lucia to instead like have our honeymoon there. And then that we were told by the Airbnb we booked that we were not able to come. So then we instead drove to Colorado and we got married there on a mountain in the snow. But so needless to say, we have literally thousands of dollars in travel credits. So like we don't even have to pay for a plane. Like that's going to be free. But I am like saving just a little bit of money because there are going to be like souvenirs or like extra shopping or dining that I want to do. And I think it's going to be on an island, and I want to, I think, go to the mainland at one point because I've never been like explored the jungle part of Belize. And so I'm just saving money for that. And then gifts. So I usually put, how I do my sinking funds is instead of like putting money in every month and then taking it back out to use it, I know that I'm going to put always $100 into my gifts and into also my health and also my home maintenance sinking fund. And then I wait until the end of the month to take the cash out because I put them in like cash envelopes, but I am not a cash spender. So if I have to buy anything from any of those categories, and also auto is one, and I'll just put that on there just in case I don't end up spending all of the money and I do save it. So there's a line for it, but I don't think there will be this month. And then at the end of the month, they see like, okay, if I didn't spend anything, I put the whole amount in there. And then if I did, I subtract that and then put that amount. But so because I think I'm going to spend $50 on gifts this month, I'm only going to put $50 in that account. And I use that for birthdays and Christmas and just like anniversaries, all of that. And then health, put $100 into a sinking fund. And that's a newer one for us because a couple months ago, my husband went to the optometrist and came back with a $250 bill that I had not been prepared for. So I'm still learning and tweaking these, but I'm hoping that that's going to be a good amount. And then home maintenance is $100. And ideally, that should be about double that because what they say you're supposed to do is save or expect to spend 1% of your home's value every year in maintenance costs. And so we are going to try to do that. But right now, while I'm working on this debt, and since like we just moved in, we aren't quite doing that yet. Just so we don't, I'm just really trying not to spread ourselves too thin. So that's that. And then I don't think there will be anything in that. So I'm going to say it's going to be $490 on savings this month. And then for debt, so the only real debt that we have is my student loan because our cars are paid off and, well, and I guess our mortgage, but I'm not counting that yet because that's a whole different kind of animal. And so I'm working on paying off my student loan. So my balance right now, I think, is around $16,100. And my goal is to have that paid off by next October. And so right now, the monthly minimum payment is, or I mean, it's actually in forbearance right now because of COVID. But I've been paying on it because I want there to be, there's nowhere else that I would need to use the money right now, really. So I have just been putting it there because I like seeing the balance go down, and I don't like having just money sitting in my account when it can go somewhere. So the monthly minimum payment is $222, but I've been putting more, and I think I'm going to put $498 this month. And then the other thing that, and then once I finish my next goal, I'll start putting all of our extra income there. So my next thing is savings repay. This is not a debt, really. It's just putting money into savings because when my husband and I bought our house, we hadn't really been planning on buying yet. We weren't quite prepared. We were planning on buying in March when our lease was up because obviously that made the most sense. But a deal came up just kind of through the grapevine. Someone might have been selling their house, and we were looking in a very specific area and a very specific price point. And so we made them an offer and they accepted. And so then we hadn't been like really saving for a down payment. So we borrowed money just from our other savings, and I'm working on like repaying ourselves so that we can get back to where we were before that. So I'm just taking all of the extra income and putting it there. And then we should be done with that pretty soon. And then I can get back to really hitting the student loan hard. And so I'm just take all the extra income from 7,258 minus 4,016 minus 12,095 minus 490 is 959. So that's what I think I'll put there this month. And then this, I haven't put anything in, but if there's like an additional, I'll just put whatever's like left from the round number and just leave it in our checkings account, because we keep a balance in our checking account of 1 month of expenses, or I guess it's no longer 1 month of expenses, but 1 month of expenses before all of this mortgage nonsense, which was $3,500. So we kept that like as our baseline. Because of the way we get paid is so sporadic that there's never not enough money in the bank account. But I consider that like zero. And so we borrowed from that too to make our down payment. So that'll be $1,457, and that is a zero-based budget. So hopefully this works out the way I want to, and hopefully we see some more income so that I can hit this goal faster. But thanks for stopping by. Make sure to subscribe so you can see more videos like this. Bye.